to re-elect a chair and vice chair because the election from the last meeting was temporary. So I'll just ask, do we have any nominations or volunteers for chair of the Kingston Heritage Programs Committee?
I nominate Councillor Stephen.
Okay, and can I have a seconder for that nomination?
I second.
Wonderful. Okay, and all in favor? Great. Okay, and that passes. Thank you. And so for vice chair, could I have a nomination or a volunteer for vice chair of the committee?
I'll do it if nobody else wants to. But if somebody else wants to.
Well, I nominate, I'd like Paul to do it. I think a member of a non-member of council might be appropriate. So we have a councillor and a member of the public.
Do you accept that nomination? Okay. Oh, sorry. I think you're muted. I think you're muted.
He's on mute.
Paul, are you able to unmute?
Yes, sorry.
Ah,
I'll get into the 21st century yet. It's been a
Good.
while.
good.
Okay, and so would you like to accept that nomination? Sorry, Paul. Jeffrey had nominated you for vice chair of the committee. Would you like to
Yes.
accept that nomination?
Oh,
Yes.
yes. So
Perfect.
yeah, I'll accept. Yeah.
Okay, great. And could I have a seconder for that nomination?
Oh, I proposed it. Sorry.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you very much. And then all in favor? Great. Thank you both. So I will pass it over to Councillor Stephen now to start the meeting.
Okay, thanks, Christine. I will now call the meeting to order at 5:36 p.m. Can I have a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, please? Moved by Councillor Chinani. Need a seconder. Thank you. Seconded by Jeffrey. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. All right, thanks everyone. Can I have a mover and seconder for the confirmation of the minutes for the Kingston Heritage Programs Committee meeting number 1 of 2024 held on Wednesday, December 6th, 2024. Thank you. Moved by Jeffrey. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, Jeffrey's muted.
Sorry. No, I have a point to make. When you say confirmation of the minutes, I mean, do you mean we confirm that we've got them, or do you mean we confirm that they're fine and they're okay? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh
That's
no,
correct.
I got a point to. Well, no, I got issue that I'd like to point out, apparently in the minutes it said Mr. Gibbs stated that his information will be presented at the next meeting, and then I got an email from the committee clerk saying that that was incorrect and that the information was private and that it wasn't to be disclosed outside the staff. Is that right?
I'm looking to the clerks on this one.
Correct. That's correct, Jeffrey. So we can amend the minutes. If you'd like to move to amend the minutes to.
No, I mean, I'm just saying that I received a letter from your office telling me that the minutes were incorrect and that they should be amended. Well, I'm not the one, I don't know if they are. I mean, I disagree with the issue, that we're not allowed to see it. But anyway.
Yes, I believe that the email that was sent was referring to previous minutes, but I can double check that.
So while the clerk's double checking, I just want to see, so in terms of confirming the minutes for tonight, confirming the minutes for the last meeting, Jeffrey, are we okay to do that, or do we need to
go ahead. I didn't want to make a big issue of it, but you did send me an email saying that something was incorrect. Okay.
Well, we do want it to be accurate because that's, the minutes are the official record. So if there is a mistake, then yeah, it should be corrected. You're right.
The issue was, and I don't want to prolong it, I received an email that said that in future the information that was mentioned is not to be disclosed to the public, apparently, and I think everybody should know that. That's all.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. That's okay. We'll just wait on the clerk and let her do her look, and then we'll carry on. No problem at all. Also, while we're waiting, Laura, Paul, and Jeffrey, hi. It's nice to meet you. I wasn't able to make it to the last meeting, but it's good to be here with you tonight.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Mhm.
Okay,
If I may, it may muddy the waters a little further, but after the minutes have been approved, can I ask a question about there's an issue in or a question that I would like to raise that was in the last set of minutes that does not appear to be anywhere on the agenda for this meeting.
Okay, so Paul, if I'm understanding what you're asking, it's you have a question about the minutes that we're about to approve. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. It's really a well, if I can just explain myself, and maybe in the minutes of the December 6th meeting, Mr. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, Hiru, brought up questions about insurance. I think insurance for the committee members, and that was and was informed that that issue would be discussed or brought up and clarified at the next meeting. This is the next meeting, but I don't see that anywhere on the agenda.
Through you, Madam Chair, I could jump in here. So yes, the issue of insurance was brought up, and I was asked to follow up with the committee, not necessarily at the next meeting, but follow up with the committee on that issue. I do hope everybody received that email. I did send an email in the new year after consulting with the legal, our lawyer. And I did email the committee with just an update on the insurance. So I do hope the committee did receive that. I can send it again if they did not.
If I'm sorry to make you do extra work, but yes, if you wouldn't mind, that would be appreciated, because I don't recall seeing that email, but
it was in the new year, so I'm sure you're getting a lot. So I'll resend that.
I did see it, so I just wanted to let you know, like, I did see it, so it must have just been missed, Paul, but yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And Paul, thanks for asking your question. Madam Clerk, do we have anything about the change to the minutes for this time around?
So the email that Jeffrey is referring to, that was for previous minutes.
Okay, so the minutes presently
can be confirmed through you.
Jeffrey, is that okay?
Okay, that was stated in the last. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. Okay, so I need a mover and a seconder for the minutes of the first meeting of 2024, please.
Well, I will move.
Thank you. Moved by Paul.
I'll second.
Laura, thank you. All in favor? Okay, opposed? Sorry, Jeffrey, I just didn't see you vote there. Just checking. Oh, you're muted. You're okay? In favor? Okay. And that's carried. Moving on. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Okay, seeing none. We have no delegations this evening. There are no briefings this evening. And we have two items of business. The first item of business is the Heritage Programming Work Plan for 2024. And I'd like to invite staff to introduce this report.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair, I will be presenting the 2024 Heritage Programming Work Plan, and I'm just going to wait for the clerk to start the PowerPoint. Thank you. The purpose of this report is to introduce to the committee the planned work of the Heritage Programming team in 2024. By no means is it an exhaustive list, nor does it address business as usual work. And I would like to just introduce it by drawing your attention to some highlights throughout the report. So next slide, please. In addition to the permanent exhibitions on display at Pump House, in 2024, we have 2 exhibitions planned. The first exhibition, The Stuff Stories Are Made Of, is a holdover from 2023 and will be de-installed at the end of May. The exhibit was designed in-house by the curators and displays over 200 objects from the civic collection, inviting viewers to view artifacts and art side by side and explore the diversity of the city's collection. In June, the team will be installing an exhibition on loan from Ingenium called Soil Superheroes. This exhibit invites visitors to explore soil and the importance of soil conservation to food, medicine, clean water, and climate through the superheroes beneath our feet, such as moles, clay, and worms. At City Hall, 2024 has already seen a number of updates to the exhibits, including the Mayor's Arts Awards. And upcoming in the summer, there will be a number of niche cases that will be updated. Incoming niche cases include the Pakistani handicrafts case, a 2S LGBTQIA+ case, to introduce to the community our planned consultation and work with the community to install niche cases over the next few years, as well as a Gardening Kingston case. Next slide, please. The education and programming team is delivering a number of new and updated programs this year. At Pump House, the programming team is continuing to tie in STEAM-based learning with the theme of water stewardship to school programs and summer camps, as well as simple machines programming, which hits on school curriculum. Our ever-popular Trains and Tots program will continue to be offered to the public, along with a new young learners program called Water Warriors, which explores the importance of water conservation and protection. Our newest program that we're going to offer this year is going to tie into the upcoming exhibition, Soil Superheroes, called Super Soil. This program invites participants to learn about healthy and unhealthy soil and the value of composting. At McLaughlin Woodworking Museum, the education team is offering school programs to discover habitats, environmental stewardship, and introduce woodworking to young learners. We're once again offering our ever-popular paddle making session, as pictured on the bottom right of the slide, as well as we have some new programs, one of which is already passed. During the eclipse weekend, the team ran a very successful sundial making workshop. Participants learned the history of sundials and learned how to use traditional tools as they built their own sundials, and that's pictured in the upper right. And finally, in City Hall, programming will invite groups to learn about civic duty, politics, and understand how views of the past have changed through time. Heritage Hour will continue to be offered this year with speakers still pending. Next slide, please. We also have on our work plan 3 projects that are council strategies. The first, the collection team is working to develop a civic artifact collection storage plan. In the works right now is researching exact spacing requirements, and next steps will be to work with the facilities team to develop a plan. The second, consultation with community partners and other municipalities is ongoing to create dedicated spaces within city parks for Indigenous-led sacred and ceremonial fires. And the last, as you will probably remember from last committee meeting, Miranda Riley brought forward a proposal to formalize the Your Stories Are History's community-led exhibition space program. That is now complete. Next slide, please. The last thing I want to highlight is the work that the collections team is doing this year. The big projects that will be visible to the community are Time, pictured in the top right, and Tetra, pictured in the bottom. Work on Time will include cleaning the aluminum forms to remove some graffiti, and as well as repairs to the concrete. Work on Tetra will include cleaning the forms similar to Time, so removing some graffiti, as well as repairing damage to some deteriorating elements. And the last thing I want to draw your attention to is some of the conservation work that our team will be doing, which will be assessing the mayoral portrait collection and sending out a number of portraits for conservation and stabilization. So thank you. That's the end of my report there.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from committee members about this report? Jeffrey, go ahead. Thank you.
Where's the hand?
Yes, that's why I put my little hand up. I'm sorry. I was trying to follow it through the report here, the 9 pages, so I got a bit lost. I have a few questions. Several questions, actually, Melanie. All the programming for water, simple machines, super soil, these are all for children, right, Melanie?
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair, yes, they are.
And how do you, are they all organized? So all the programs, they're all planned ahead of time with you negotiate with the schools or something to bring the kids in?
Yes, they're all planned ahead of time. So we share with the schools our programming catalog. They share with the teachers. So we share with the school board and they share with the teachers. And then the teachers reach out to us and we usually do book out our school and summer camps throughout the year.
Oh, I see. So it's all planned ahead of time throughout the next few months of the spring and summer. You got it all organized, or do they just do it on demand? They just phone?
And no, it's all planned out pretty much for the
Okay,
year.
good.
There's a few time slots that are available currently, but most of the school and summer camp bookings are pretty booked out with the team.
Yeah, the other questions are onto the oh, that's McLachlan, yeah. The flower pressing and the sundials, etc. The McLachlan Museum, will it be open to the public, or is it organized groups?
Melanie?
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. So sundials has already passed. It was generally open to the public, that one. So we do have some, I believe I noted in the report that some are public-based and some are specific to school programming, just because the amount of work that goes into them, we do need a bit of a bigger group. So we try to get those for school groups. So sundials, that was public and it did sell out to the public.
Okay, but all the rest are organized school groups and things like that?
We do. So paddle making is a public programming. Sundials is a public programming. Vampires, stakes and broomsticks is public. So it's kind of.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That one is public.
So yeah, it's walk-in. It's going to be open during the day and you can just walk in?
You won't be able to walk in. Those programs do book out. You need to purchase tickets ahead of time.
Okay. So they won't be open every day then? It's just on odd days?
McLachlan is open for woodworking programs only.
Okay, right, thank you. The other thing too is the heritage tours is held every few months, and I know that you had 5 last year that were quite interesting. Are you so have you got a roster of lecturers signed up already, or are you waiting? Will that be coming later?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So that will be coming later. We have had, unfortunately, a number of candidates follow through for us, so we are trying to rebook different speakers.
So there's nobody booked at the moment?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Jeffrey. You're welcome. Did any other committee members? Paul, go ahead. Just as a reminder, sorry, I didn't say this at the beginning, but when it's your turn to ask questions, I have a 5-minute timer that I start and stop when you're speaking and when staff are speaking.
Okay.
So, Paul, go ahead. Usually 5 minutes is enough, but
well, I'll tell you, my daughters would love to get that app for sure. Anyway, no, it's just really a general question, Melanie. I'm just wondering how far along you are when you say this is the civic artifact storage plan. Will the storage still be at City Hall, or are you looking at offsite storage, or have you even got that far yet? Maybe you haven't. And if so, what will the storage conditions be? I mean, I hope they'll be environmentally sustainable, et cetera. But anyway,
Melanie?
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. So currently we are just working on what exactly we need as far as how big the collection is. We do have our collection over a number of sites, and obviously that does take quite a bit of employment and staff hours and time just to go to each of those sites and check environmental conditions, pests, make sure that no water pipes have burst. So we are looking at what exactly the size-wise would be. I know that there is some discussion about what that looks like with other departments, as well as seeing if other departments have a need where we could build a bigger unit altogether. So right now we're just working on what our team needs, and we'll soon be going to facilities. So at the end of Q 2025, we're supposed to have a plan with facilities in place.
Okay, well, thank you. I look forward to seeing that report. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Are there any other committee members with questions? Seeing none, are there any members of the public present wishing to ask questions about the Heritage Programming Work Plan Report?
Through you, Madam Chair, there are no members of the public present.
Okay, thank you. So since this report was for information only, we don't need to vote, so we'll move on to the next item of business. And I would like to invite staff to introduce the 2023 Civic Museums Year-End Report, please.
Thank you. And through you, Madam Chair, I'm going to briefly run through Informational Report HPC 24-003 and the accompanying appendix. So this report is, I'm going to take you back into 2023. The purpose of the Civic Museums Year-End Report is to present a comprehensive overview on the activities of the Heritage Programming Team, specifically as it relates to the curation of the civic artifacts collection, public and museum-based programming, exhibitions, and operations specific to the two city-owned museums, Pump House Museum and McLaughlin Woodworking Museum, as well as Kingston City Hall National Historic Site. In 2023, Pump House was open year-round, and McLaughlin continued to be run for community programming from May to December. City Hall was accessible to the public year-round for self-guided tours and from May to October for guided and extended access tours. Next slide, please. The first graph I'm pulling up from the report displays the total number of attendants at the City of Kingston Heritage Sites from 2019 to 2023 to compare them. Based on the numbers, you can see there is still a slight dip in 2023 attendance compared to the year previous. McLaughlin continues to be run as a programming site and numbers remain level compared to the years previous, while City Hall saw less guided tours but more self-guided tours in comparison to the previous year. Next slide, please. The next chart depicts total revenue, which excludes grant funding across the programs. Similar to the previous chart, while the numbers are not back to pre-pandemic levels, there continues to be growth or numbers holding steady as people become more comfortable being in public spaces again and tourism returns to the area. Next slide, please. From the report, I want to go over some highlights of the work completed by the Heritage Programming Team in 2023. From the Programming Education Team, the team ran the ever-popular end-of-year winter events, Winter Light at McLaughlin and All Aboard at Pump House. And pictured on the slides on the right are images taken from the after-hours event Beer and Pacteria, which sold out and invited visitors to tour Pump House after hours to explore bacteria and sample beer from local vendors, as well as engage in activities such as Pump House and beer-themed trivia and timeline interactives. McLaughlin ran a successful season working with local woodturners to explore traditional methods of woodworking through workshops such as paddle making, sword and shield, and Can You Build It? Next slide, please. In 2023, Pump House hosted an unprecedented 3 exhibitions, all curated in-house. The first was On the Move, 400 Years of Transportation in Kingston. The exhibit provided the Heritage Services Programming Team with the opportunity to collaborate with departments within the city, as well as community groups and museums within the area. In the summer from July to September, the Art of Survival, a Prison for Women Memorial Collective exhibition was on view. This exhibition was a collaboration with the Prison for Women Memorial Collective, which brought together more than 30 local, national, and international artists and collectives who had produced artwork while inside institutions for women or while on parole. In September, the team brought in an in-house exhibition to the Pump House. The Stuff Stories Are Made Of, which I previously mentioned, was installed in 2023 and will be deinstalled at the end of May. Next slide, please. Finally, I want to draw your attention to some of the work of the Civic Collection team did. They brought in 4 new objects to the primary and secondary collections, as well as maintaining and cleaning a selection of public art pieces and monuments in the City of Kingston's public art collection. Picture to the right are 2 of the 2023 acquisitions. One is a painting by Robert Blenderman, and the other one depicted here is one of 2 stained glass windows from Plymouth Square, which I believe you all remember from the acquisitions report I did last year. And then pictured on the upper right is an image of a collection of 1908 fire maps and surveys of Kingston, Portsmouth, and Berryfield. The piece was accepted by the Canadian Conservation Institute for conservation and remains with them, with current work being done to stabilize the piece. Thank you. That's the end of my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from committee members?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question as to, is that possible?
Yes, Jeffrey, please go ahead.
Okay, well, several questions. The 36 questions, I understand, is, what did you say, is wrapping up now or in May?
Melanie?
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. Yes, it will. We're actually in the middle of deinstalling it right now.
Okay, so will we be able to see the results, the conclusions that you've reached from that? Or?
The data is actually not being collected by our team. It is being collected by a different department, but I can see if what they have got put together, and we can share that information somehow. I believe they're planning to share it on the website somehow.
Oh, okay. So when, just an idea, when will that be? Will it be in May, June, July? We can expect it.
So like I said, Jeffrey, the information is not being collected by our team, so I'm not too sure. Okay. I can definitely ask them what their plan is for the information.
Okay, good, thanks. That's fine. The other thing too is in the pump house, when I looked at the numbers, I see that the walking tours were quite low, and I just wondered why was that? I mean, it suddenly dropped quite a lot. Is that because there's a lack of staff or to take them, or why was that?
Melanie?
The walking tours? Yeah. Sorry, and thank you through me, Madam Chair. It's hard to say sometimes if we offer things too frequently. I think some of the numbers sometimes drop, so that could be a factor. It just wasn't taken up as much as it was during some of the early pandemic years.
Yeah, it's just that I personally took it twice. I found it very, very interesting. There's all the buildings are there, you know, so when your staff take you around there, I was just very, very surprised. I think it dropped from several thousand down to a few hundred. That's the first thing. And I know as a volunteer, I offered at one point if you got vacancies or you were taking it or you needed staff to do it. So.
And in 2024, I will note that we are planning to offer the guided tours again, just as kind of a special curators event 4 times throughout the year. We just thought 2023 might be a good chance to take a break, just because people need a break from the same information being given to them over and over again. Okay,
no, good point. The exhibition, the attendance overview, the art of survival, by the way, that you had was very, very powerful. I attended that discussion and walked around, and I was very impressed by the gathering and the fact that these are, you know, this is what's been happening in Kingston with the women, and it was very, very relevant. So I thought that, I wonder if you've ever considered looking at impacts, doing an exhibition of the impacts on Kingston of other things other than the prison, like the coming of the railway, or the military history, or the impact of the war, or building the canal, or the shipbuilding in the port. These are all big issues that really impacted the Kingston community. And I just thought, have you ever thought of doing one of those things?
Melanie?
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. Definitely things that I can definitely note down to share with the team, Jeffrey, but they do have a couple-year plan in place, but it's something that we can look into.
Okay, it was just that I found that particular one very, very relevant to Kingston. And these other issues that I mentioned also had a great big impact. Anyway, thank you very much. That's it, I think.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Paula, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. One question. One of your earlier slides, Melanie, had a table with donations in it with an asterisk beside donations, and I just wondered what the asterisk indicated. I didn't see any relation. I didn't see anything below saying asterisk. This means blah blah blah. I just wondered if you could expand that a little bit.
Melanie?
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. Paul, could you tell me exactly which one it is, just so I can pull it up?
I knew you were going to ask that. Oh gosh, it must have been the third, no, I'm sorry, third, fourth, fifth slide. It was early on in your presentation. And it was the table, and yes, that's the one. Yeah. And there's a little asterisk there beside donations. And I just wondered what the asterisk was referring to.
I'm going to say that that is a mistake.
That's a mistake. Okay. All right.
Because that's not in the report.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Okay. No, fine. The second question, and once again, I brought this up last year in the first report. Once again, there is nothing about the civic archival collection. And now I realize this is the museum report, but I think somewhere there has to be something about the city archives, because it is one of probably the best civic archives in the country. I mean, I stand to be corrected, but I think it is. Now I realize it's off-site. It is administered by Queens, but every year a report had to be sent back to the city indicating such things as how many individuals who came through the doors to the archives or sent emails or letters or blah, blah, whatever, that wanted access to the archives, and what were they asking access for. And now I've been gone for 4 years, so who knows? I mean, maybe it's been lost in, or it just, well, whatever. But and also there was an addenda to the report every year about conservation that the Queens Archives Conservation Department may have been able to do on some of the archival records that were under its care at Kathleen Ryan Hall. And there's absolutely nothing in the report, the museum's report. I mean, maybe it should be a separate report. It'd be nice if it was a separate report, because that would really highlight this archival collection, but understood if it goes under the museums. But I really do think there needs to be something there to bring home to both the citizens of Kingston and the wider public that there is this extremely important collection that is available to be accessed and research, and what type of research is being conducted. And so again, I guess it's just a point that perhaps in future something could be done about this. I'll get off my hobby horse.
That's okay. Did staff want to comment? I as chair, I let that one go because there was Paul was trying to connect it back to museums. So if staff have anything they'd like to add, Melanie, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I think that's really interesting and something I'll reach out to Queens about. But like, as you did mention, it is administered by them. So we can certainly reach out and see if they can provide us those numbers. That definitely predated my time, so I'll look into that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Paul, any further questions?
I had a comment.
Just one sec, Laura. And Paul, do you have any other questions, or are you finished?
Oh,
You're finished? Okay. Laura, yes, of course. Go ahead, please.
yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I was just honestly going to echo what Paul said, but in the form of like an accessions register, an acquisitions register, even if that was shared, it would be important. And just to get an idea of the voices that are also being captured in the archival collection, because the civic collection doesn't necessarily represent all of the unique voices in archives in Kingston. So I'm an archivist as well, so of course I had to say my piece.
Thanks, Laura. Okay, any other questions about the museum report? Seeing none. Okay, are there any questions from the public?
Through you, Madam Chair, there are no members of the public present.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. So this report was also for information only. So that concludes the business portion of this meeting. We have no motions and there are no notices of motion. Does anyone have any other business? Seeing none. There was no correspondence, and the next meeting of the Kingston Heritage Programs Committee is scheduled for Tuesday, June 25th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. And do I have a mover and a seconder to adjourn this meeting? Moved by Councillor Chinani, seconded by Paul. All those in favor? Opposed? And we are adjourned.